Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this.
But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sunday service. Not sure there was such a delay between the end of that and start of me talking, it wouldn't let me speak, but never mind. I'm sure you're all used to my lovely professionalism by now. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, so please join in the chat. I think if it's on YouTube, it does come up automatically, although none of you have actually joined in, so I don't know that yet. But joining me today to talk all things Scunthorpe is Julian, who's been on with us a couple of times before. Hello, Julian. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And also we've got Louis, who's not joined us before, but he has been on other podcasts. He blew us out, but he was on the Forest Green one the other day. So hello, Louis. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So just so we know a little bit about yourself, obviously I can see your signed shirts and whatnot behind you there. Tell us a little bit about your Sutton United supporting history.
So my first game was February 2011, so just over 11 years ago now. Lowestoft Town in the Ryman Premier League, the year we won the Ryman Premier League. So I was at the age of about 11 at the time. I was brought up as a Norwich fan. My dad's a Norwich fan. I had season ticket at Norwich, but I just became disenfranchised with the whole thing. Premier League, all the money that's in it, and I went down to Sutton, which is about half an hour from me. I haven't looked back since. Really, I've enjoyed every moment.
So you got in just at the point of the amazing run.
Yeah, I got in at the right time before being
exactly,
called the Glory Hunter.
Yeah. You've got the programs to prove it. You're like, no. JR, we all know you've been supporting for a few more years than that.
Just a few.
Yeah. So when was it again? Sorry,
Mid-70s.
Mid-70s. Lovely.
Yeah.
So would you have obviously the Hall of Fame was on announced yesterday. Some new Hall of Famers. Some of the names obviously we all know. But would you have seen Mickey Mellows play, or was that just?
I'm trying to think. Possibly right at the end of his career, possibly. I can't remember. I mean, I remember Ricky Kidd, who's also a Hall of Famer that got inducted a few years ago. But I certainly remember Ricky Kidd because he played up into the 77, 78 season, I think. But Mickey Mellows would have retired before then. And I think I first went in I always thought I went in 74, but I think it was probably 75 when I first went. And I would only go to the occasional game then, because I would have been 9. So Mum would have just taken me to the occasional game. But as I showed more interest, we started going later on. So I may have seen him play once. I'm not sure when he actually retired from Sutton.
Right.
But certainly, obviously, it's a name we've heard of. Playing in the I think the Leeds game and the Amateur Cup final and stuff like that. So certainly worthy of the accolade.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's a bit weird timing for me, because I was talking to someone. It was actually about the tea huts and the fact they called roses, and they were like, "Why are they both roses?" And I said, "Well, no, it's Rose was the lady who actually ran the tea hut for donkeys and donkeys."
Yeah.
And I said, I think she's actually in the Hall of Fame. And they were kind of looking at me like, what are you on about the Hall of Fame? And I was like, yeah, we've got a Hall of Fame. I think it's died off a couple of years now, but this Hall of Fame, and I was explaining it. and then suddenly the next game they start introducing people into the Hall of Fame. I'm like, blimey, that's a coincidence. I did check; Rose is in the Hall of Fame, one of the very few occasions I got something dead right. But yeah, we obviously know Big Bad Dom, and if people don't know him, they definitely should know Dave, who's just been doing everything at the club for a long time. He thinks he's escaping at the end of the season, but I think we should get him to watch Carlito's Way. You can't escape. You're stuck in. You go. And then obviously more recent inductees, you've got Jamie, Craig, and Matt after just a couple of years, but there can be absolutely no disputing his Hall of Fame status. It's quite difficult. Where do you normally stand, Louis? Because we're on the other side, we're on the curve, so it's quite.
I'm on the opposite curve usually. So the car park behind me.
So you've got to hear the actual announcements.
Oh no, the tannoy's just as bad on that terrace. Don't worry.
I keep saying it. He's really strange. If you were to go to one of the games, the smaller games, like some of the Surrey Senior Cups or the youth games or the ladies' game, it's as clear as a bell. It's really, it's really strange. When there's a lot of people in there, it just and it's the same Tony announcing it as well. So it's not Tony's doing something different. It's just really, really odd. But no, it's a nice little start yesterday to the match, even though I didn't necessarily hear all of it. But yeah, there was another update as well this week from AB. I don't know, did you both get to see that about the works going on? Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen it, definitely worth a little watch. Just obviously explaining a little bit about what's happening now with the stands. Poor Tranmere fans, they're getting the worst of it because they'll have the standing closed. They'll have the new seats available to them, but they won't be able to stand. There'll be even less room available. But it's all coming on quite nicely, really. And I think the aim is everything's going to be nice and ready for Bradford last home game of the season, which will absolutely be nice because I'm sure they'll bring one or two people with them. And just before we get on to the match, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a boost here. Keep getting these figures about the podcast, and they seem to have an awful lot of people comparatively listening from America, and not just the people I'd expect from Texas. They're just a strange lump from somewhere else in America. And I'm like, I can't actually work it out. I'm guessing it might be like Google bots or something. It comes up as a listen, so I'm taking it. I'm like, overthinking it.
Well, I think Gareth has sent a whole load of stuff to America, some kits and stuff like that, but and not just not to Texas.
No, yeah, I saw someone talking to I think it was Robbo about finding the club recently, and they wanted some stuff, and he put them to the club shop, and they said they ordered a load of stuff. So. Yeah, we're getting huge now. This isn't. Yeah. We're not just getting Norwich supporters.
We're definitely a few Americans to come and see us, so it's good.
Yeah, well, on pay-per-view, Virginia, that's it. So apparently, 17% of my listeners are from America, and of that, 68% is in Virginia. As I say, I bet it's like some Google bots stuff. But hello, if you are listening in Virginia, hi, how are you? But on to the game yesterday. I've waffled enough. What were your thoughts going into the game? If I start with you, Louis.
I think, don't like using the term, but I think it was a must-win in the sense of where they were in the table. I think Matt Gray pointed out yesterday, you can turn stats the way you want, but obviously without us winning in 5 or 6, wasn't it, with the draws? And on paper, it was a big banana skin because they just come off the back of a 0-0 draw with Northampton. You think, are they as bad as what the table says? So before the game, it's one of those where the expectations were high, and anything other than a convincing win would have been, I think, a bit of a disappointment. But thankfully, it's ended up the way we all thought it probably would be.
I don't disagree with anything there. It was, definitely one that I think a lot of people on the Facebook page say, "Oh yeah, we should easily put these to bed," and I'm sitting in my head going, "Oh God, no, please stop that." JR, you've seen these matches that we should easily win.
Yeah.
How were you feeling before the game?
Yeah, again, exactly the same. Louis, it's a must-win game. If we're serious about reaching the playoffs, now that we've avoided relegation, we can look up. It was a must-win game. We knew that they were struggling. They'd got one of their players was injured on Tuesday, so he was missing. They got a guy out with long COVID, and they got quite a long injury list. And I think they had some people that are players that weren't on the list originally. Some new numbers. I think I'm sure Tony, when he was doing the subs, said, "Oh, number 38 or something like that, who's not down in the program." So whether they got some extra bodies in somehow, got permission to get extra bodies in, I don't know. But they were threadbare. So it was a must-win game, and thankfully we once the first goal went in, the floodgates opened for a bit.
Yeah, no. That first half hour though, I mean, we were making chances. I sort of was being all the big what's-its going, yeah, it'll be fine. This is where Donovan's going to come good, and he's going to smash a hat-trick in the first 20 minutes, and blah blah blah. And he did have two good chances, but they didn't quite go in. But we seem to have this obsession with this cross-field ball. 2 or 3 players decided they were going to knock it across the field and gave possession away a couple of times, and not picking on people, but people that should know better, like Craig and Kenny, just doing it. And so they kind of were starting to come into the game a little bit, which was getting a bit worrying just before that first goal. Was that just me being pessimistic, or were you guys?
No, I think it was the case of getting that first goal as early as possible. I think it's probably the same in terms of some sort of previous games, and like teams like Northampton haven't scored early, and then they've not been able to break them down. Then the nerves are coming for, say, Northampton. But I think the key thing yesterday was just getting that sort of early-ish goal, just to put any nerves to bed. And I think once we got that first goal, you could see Scunthorpe's heads dropped. I mean, their number 9 head completely went. I don't know how he wasn't sent off.
No, unbelievable, isn't
But I think once a team, at the top end of the table is going to get the first goal against a team like Scunthorpe, I don't think the result's in doubt, really. And we did look very comfortable once that first goal went in. It helped getting the second within a minute.
Yeah, well, the number 9, I think he was helped very, very, very much by the ref having to go off, because it was the original ref that booked him, and then the second ref gave him another final warning. So it's like, oh, you got away with one there, and he was subbed at half time.
Well, yeah, we said that one of the lads said that it was Taz actually said there's no way he's coming out the second half. There's no way he's going to be subbed because he's off otherwise. And how he must have committed about another 3 or 4 fouls, and one was quite bad actually. After he'd been booked, he was having a massive argument with the ref, and once he finished with the ref, he then went over to the linesman and had an argument with the linesman. I thought, surely he's going to get booked and off, get a second booking. No, but you're right. I think the second ref was rather lenient, to say the least. On a number of occasions.
And also another fun fact: we had the far lino injured, and we had to shout out for a qualified referee, and I think it was someone was saying it was a groundhopper who ended up going over there to take flag.
So. I'm not quite sure what would happen if the other lino got injured, whether the game would have been abandoned.
Yeah, Frakey.
He's not qualified.
Oh, is he not anymore? Oh, okay.
No, not qualified anymore, apparently, because I did ask. And he said no. He said, I'm not qualified anymore, so I can't do it.
I think if we were 3-0 up and it was a game was going to be abandoned, he might have suddenly went, actually, I am qualified. I just didn't want to do it. But yeah, so first goal, have to admit, it was one of the Scunthorpe fans put up a little slow-mo video earlier of that penalty. Watching it first, full speed, it's a penalty all day long. Watching it on a slow-mo, it's very clever from Omar.
He did the exact same thing at Bradford away, I remember as well.
Yeah.
He just sort of gets his body in front of the defender and just sort of falls over kind of thing. And you can't not give it, but it's playing with the foul kind of thing.
Definite if you're ahead of that defender and you cut back across them, they can't do anything. It's a run into you, and as soon as they run into you, then it's a penalty. So, but yeah, they were upset, and then obviously Rob dispatched it. Nice photo ops and video op for everyone to get a nice new stand in the background as well. And then Will, who's had some grief over the season, he committed a little foul as well, apparently. to get
player back,
to get the space for the goal, but it was a very nice goal, and very, as you said, very quickly after the penalty to make it a nice 2-0 cushion. At that point, we're starting to get comfortable, are we?
It was, wasn't it? Because it was very bitty. I actually don't think we played particularly well. As you said, we gave the ball away far too often, and the only pressure, they didn't really put us under too much pressure, but the only pressure was due to our own mistakes, giving away silly corners and things like that. But yeah, Dino didn't have much to do apart from a couple of shots that were straight at him later on. I don't think he had much to do at all, but it was just we weren't nowhere near our best, and yet we still came out 4-1 winners. So it's definitely to the side, really.
Yeah, the third goal was another great team goal. I know Matt made a slight comment about that one as well. And Joe Kizzy's celebration was up there with his GIF.
Yeah,
I'd love some explanations, but I'm not sure I really want some explanations. So just file them under. We don't need to know. But yeah, 3-0 and coasting at halftime. I think we're all even quite relaxed there. The atmosphere was a strange atmosphere. It was really, really quiet. I don't know if anyone else pick up. It was really just flat from us as well.
Flat, yeah, the game wasn't the best though. It was stop-start. I think the referee sort of gave like soft fouls and kept the game and throw-ins, and it didn't have a good flow to the game at all.
Yeah.
I think, as you say, I don't think we got out of first gear, which is good in the sense we won 4-1. We didn't really, and we could take obviously Craig and John off at the end, but it was a game that went the way you expect it to. Didn't put all the effort in. I think it helped having no midweek fixture. I think you could sort of see with sort of injuries and so on, that sort of extra bit of a break helped. And I think it's the same this week going into the Rochdale game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not. We'll come on to the second half very, very briefly, but it's not just injuries. I'm thinking it's
fatigue.
Now and it's also just getting that people needing to be on their toes a little bit, because there is someone now available to take your place. For a few weeks, it was like, actually, it doesn't matter what people do because there's no one to take their place. But now it's like a little bit, hang on, I better smarten up a bit. But the second half almost got off to a great, great start. We had some really good chances. But yeah, it kind of petered out, as we say. Will scored another goal. Harry did two things worth talking about. One was that little turn to beat, was it 2 players, 3 players?
Yeah.
And then, as I said to him, HB with the OG. So he scored, so that's good.
I think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. 4-0, 4-1 makes no difference. I know the clean sheet's important. I know Matt and Jason will be devastated as defenders that we didn't keep the clean sheet.
I think Bruce is happy though. No clean sheet bonus.
But does Harry now knock on the door and go get a goal bonus? But what you were saying about the not getting out of first gear, I thought that. I didn't want to say it because I don't like saying these kind of things, but Scunthorpe fans, I did say on someone's Twitter that they deserve a medal to follow that team, and we were nowhere near our best. I've seen us play a lot better than that and lose. Yeah. But they were just shocking. I don't understand it. It's just awful team.
They've been struggling for years, though, haven't they? It's the same in League Two. You always get a side that I think a lot of people say that stays up, even though they're terrible. Colchester have done it for a number of years, and they're down there again. But there's always that team that every so often in League Two struggles, but because of some financial irregularity of some other team stays up.
They do
And I
just
think
enough, yeah.
Scunthorpe, have been there for ages now, and I think they're getting what the past few seasons have been coming.
Well, I think they're something like 8 points adrift now with 2 games more than everyone else. So I think
they sold their 2 strikers in Ryan Loft and Pat Hippolyte, or was it?
Hippolyte went to Stockport,
went to Stockport, and Ryan Loft went to Bristol Rovers. They just look toothless up front, really. And Aaron Jarvis is injured, but I don't know. I don't know what they saw in Aaron Jarvis to buy him in the first, or to get him in the first place from us. It was bizarre. We let him go because he wasn't good enough, and he goes up a division. But apparently the current manager doesn't. I was talking to one of their coaching guys. The current manager doesn't favour him anyway. So although he's injured, but he can't get in the side anyway. But they just don't look as though they can score. Really, they've got nothing.
There's definitely no cohesion, and one of that's another little thing that Will said. I don't know if you've picked it up at the end of his interview. Tony kind of said, "Well, you're on a hat trick. What would have happened if there was been a penalty in the last couple of minutes?" And I just thought it was really nice him to go, "Yeah, I think I would have given it to Omar or Donny," which is obviously nice to give him a little boost. I think they would have struggled to prise it out of Harry's cold, dead hands. But it was nice for him to kind of go, "Yeah, I wouldn't have been that bothered of a hat trick to give it to one of the other guys." And it just shows again that team spirit of actually this guy could do with a little bit of a boost. A lot of players would be like, "Yeah, no, I'm having it all day long."
Yeah. You can see with Harry being out for so long, he's just chomping at the bit. He's all over the place. There's a little dynamo. He
looked sharp yesterday when he came on. I thought he wanted the ball a lot and got into position a lot, and he had that shot from the outside of the box, I think.
Yeah,
it was a save. But yeah, he looked at it yesterday when he came on.
Yeah, he's really getting back to fitness, and it's really important for the running.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
really good that he's back.
On that, lots have been said about obviously the teams above us. All the top 3 all lost, which is kind of bizarre. And then Exeter drew, so it's brought them all a little bit closer together. So we're now actually 2 points off second place. But if you look the other way, we're also 2 points off 8th place as well. So there's literally 4 points. So it's getting really, really tight. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting run-in.
Yes.
Who are you guys looking at for that run-in?
Well, I think it's quite interesting. I mean, we're not playing Tuesday, and there's some games on Tuesday. I've got to hear Bristol Rovers at home to Barrow, so you'd expect them to win. Harrogate at home to Port Vale, Newport, Forest Green, Northampton, Walsall, which all affect us. So, it's possible that we could drop. Newport win, Port Vale win. Well, Newport win, they go above us, but that's it. So we could drop down to 6th. After Tuesday, but I think someone said that all the top sides we've got Mansfield away, Swindon away, and Tranmere at home at the top, and then Newport, Port Vale as well, and the top 10. It's going to be interesting. A lot of the sides have got to play each other. I think if we need to beat Rochdale. And then if we beat Rochdale, then I think it's going to be quite interesting because we'll then be on 57 points, and with 12 games left, and you're looking like maybe 1.5 points a game, and we're going to be in the playoffs. Can we finish higher? It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? It's exciting.
Problem I think even the sort of the away games that you haven't mentioned, like Walsall and Oldham, at the moment, they're not on paper the games that you want to do. Because I mean, Walsall under Flynn, I think I've got a mate who's a Walsall fan. He said yesterday they played some brilliant football. I think that would be a tougher game than what it would have been, say, 3 weeks ago before Flynn came in. Oldham under Sheridan are just a different side, and it's a real blow that our game was called off because
I know
on that day you probably would have banked on us getting 3 points. Now,
absolutely,
on a Tuesday night away at Oldham when they need the points themselves and are on such good form, it's not on paper. But then it's the same for a lot of other clubs who've probably got to play them as well. It's always the case at the end of the season. The playoffs is really interesting. Look at the table. The teams that are coming into it, Salford, that you didn't mention, are sort of hitting form. I think Bristol Rovers are the ones to watch out for. I think they've signed well.
I was just going to say Bristol Rovers are flying as well.
Yeah,
at the moment.
But they're all sort of crunching up in that middle bit, and even the teams in the playoffs like Mansfield don't seem to be dropping off at the moment.
No, they haven't. They've had a very good run as well. But with the Walsall and Oldham, one thing we've lost to both of those, and so Matt, I know, will be extra determined not for us to lose to them again. So we don't like people doing the double on us. So I mean, it will be interesting. But you're absolutely right, Lou. They are going to be really difficult. And had we played Oldham, we were very confident then. If the game hadn't been called off, and we're confident in getting a result there then. But it's going to be more difficult this time. But,
yeah, I mean, also there's further ahead. There's the Bradford, the away fan factor there, because we are a quiet crowd. There's no getting away with that. And then suddenly you'll have a 1,000 or so noisy away Bradford fans. So that'll make it quite a difficult atmosphere, especially if we need to get something from that game. It'll make it quite a difficult one. But no, it's still all in our hands. So we positive only. But on yesterday, I'm sure you've both seen, but what's your nominations for Player of the Day? So who do you sort of think should be up there as a nomination? Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll go if you like. I noticed the sponsors gave Ben Goodlift man of the match, which is fair enough. I thought he was exceptional. But the Football League paper, I think it was the non-league. The Football League paper gave it to Omar.
But then he wasn't in the team of the week. Randall and Kizzy were, so that made no sense.
No, I know, that was bizarre.
Yeah.
But I thought Kizzy was outstanding again. He really is a great signing. I thought it was outstanding, but I would give it to Will Randall. I think Will Randall's come on leaps and bounds. Matt likes him because of his defensive qualities as well, and he just doesn't stop running. He actually, I think one criticism I have of Will is that he can't get past players, but yesterday he did, and he scored 2 great goals. So for me, I'll nominate Will.
Cool, lovely, Louis.
Yeah, I don't mean to be boring, but I think you have to say the same thing, really. I feel for Will a bit because you've got Ajibo on the right flank, who arguably is a flair player, and when he's on the ball, you expect something to happen. You expect him to beat a player, but Randall's a different type of winger, and I feel like it's hard to compare the two of them. But yesterday he looked like a threat on the ball. He looked like he was going to beat he had his player on toast on the right on the right back position. So he had a very good game yesterday. But again, as you say, Kizzy, I think Bugiel was brilliant. So you can't really. It's hard to pick one out when.
So I'll do it as a poll anyway, so we don't have to actually decide. But I have to say, my notes to pick, because I wanted to make sure I got 4, because for some reason I've gone for 4 in this poll. I'd Will on there. I had Joe. I had Omar, and I'd also put Ben. I didn't actually hear he was man of the match, but I have to say, in that half an hour spell where things were just kind of not quite going our way, he was just literally blocking everything, and he was just attacking every single ball. And I wanted to say to someone, he's having a really good game, but then I was like, shut up, don't speak, because I have this lovely Midas touch. But yeah, so there was a couple of comments came in. One was Cole Payne, who said that my prediction nearly came true. Didn't really. I said we'd score loads of goals in the first 20 minutes, but we did score loads of goals, so just not in the first 20 minutes. And then there was also Chris, who's on Instagram, who said it is great to get back to winning ways, which I think was echoed pretty much everywhere. So yeah, it was a good game. It was great, and it does give us another little platform, because as we say about the stats, there is a lot you can read into anything depending on how you want to do it. One of the things I always ask when I'm asked to produce a survey is, what answer do you want? Because depending on the answer you want is how you ask the survey, how you ask the questions, and how the stats look. So yeah, we've had 1 loss in 14, which sounds wonderful, but then it was, I think, no wins in 5. But now that's put to bed. We start the next winning run, and we're not going to lose the next 12 games. So we will move on to the Rochdale match. We've mentioned it a couple of times. They've, again, one of those things that they're in a low league position, but when you start drilling into some of their results, they've not actually had that bad of results recently. I think they lost to Forest Green, they've lost to Tranmere, but then
unbeaten in 4, aren't they?
Yeah, they've had a few little wins. They've had a few draws here and there. I think it's going back to kind of December where they lost to a team that you'd maybe think, oh, okay, that's a difficult one. They did have a draw against both Colchester and Oldham, I want to say. We all know that that's probably not true. But yeah, it's a couple of teams I think who had the new manager bounce. It was Oldham. So it was Oldham, and then that Colchester as well. In fact, 2 games after each other, which I think they both had new managers, so they had that little boost. So you can kind of put them aside. So they're going to be a tricky tie, but we should hopefully get. I think he said Richie's back and Ali will be back.
Yeah.
Tance maybe not, and John maybe not. John Barton maybe not. But there's a possibility. So we should almost have a full strength side to choose from, which gives another set of problems. But what are we thinking of the Rochdale match? Are we being super confident or hopeful?
I think we have to be confident. Again, of course, this is another side that we lost to somehow.
I know how. I was listening to that one, and we pulled it back, and even the commentators on that iFollow were getting overly excited because we were just going for it, and it was like, we just come back from 2-0 down. Take the point, and go home. But, oh no! Off we went.
Yeah, I conceded another late goal, but for me, it's similar to the Rochdale, the Scunthorpe game. Is that it's at this stage of the season now, it's a must-win game. You've got to win your home games to start with, and see what you can get away. And we have got. We haven't lost at home for a long time now. I think Walsall was the last game we lost at home. And for me, it's a must-win game. So I'm expecting us to win. I expect us to play better than we did on yesterday. And if that's the case, then I think Rochdale are going to find it difficult. But they're a good side. Obviously, they've improved. They've improved quite a bit, and they're difficult to break down. But with home advantage, I fully expect us to do the business.
Yeah. Louis, what do you think?
Yeah, sort of similar. It's a weird one because you can't really place Rochdale. I mean, they came down last year, but you wouldn't have thought, given their league position and everything that's happened, that they were a League One side last year. It's weird because I think a couple of weeks ago I was watching Sky Sports News and they were losing to Scunthorpe, and you look at the table and they're 4 points off the drop, and you're thinking, they're not on good form, but all of a sudden, 2 weeks later they're 4 unbeaten. They're beating Northampton, so it's gonna be a tough one. They always are, but as Julian said, you have to win your home games if you're going to be competing at the top end. And I think going into the game, a lot of fans will expect us to win. I think the players on paper will probably expect to win as well. I think if we turn up and we perform as we know we can, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be able to beat them.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely one of those I'll be sitting there for a good 20 minutes, half an hour going, oh God, this is going to be terrible. And then hopefully we'll get a nice early goal. They are being a lot nicer to us in the last few weeks for getting some reasonably early goals and winning the game long before the last 30 seconds. That more of that, please, gents. But yeah, I as you were saying earlier, it's 1.5 points per game, and we should be in the playoffs. And with that means you need the 3 points for your home games, because that means you can afford a slip up or two elsewhere.
You say 75 points was the aim that he said in the team meeting, which is 21 points, I think we need.
Oh, so it's a little bit over the
so seven wins out of 13, which seems like a huge amount. But it's doable with home wins. I think, as you say, you've got to win your home games. And you can say we need 21 points, but if you go and beat Newport and Tranmere at home, you're going to need less of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
no. So I mean, it's all very, very exciting. Lots of fun stuff to look forward to, and whatever happens. As we said at the very start of the season, this wherever we finish, it's the highest league place we've ever finished in. So it doesn't actually make any difference, to be honest with you. Although now we're getting a little sniff of promotion. We're like, oh, actually, yeah, we can do that League One. Thanks, we'll have that. But yeah, it's just completely insane to even be talking about it, to be honest with you. It's just a very, very strange situation. I think that was pretty much all of it for now. I'm so rubbish at this. I do have a competition to do. So I did the competition for winning a code for FIFA. There wasn't a huge amount of entries, but there was some entries. So there's going to be a winner. So you lot can't see this. So this is making wonderful video. But I'm just spinning a wheel, and the winner is coming up as, come on, guy called Harry. So Harry, if you're listening, I'll be sending you an email shortly to find out what you want it on. But you've just won a copy of FIFA. If anyone really wants to know the answer to the question, it was how people were looking out for me during the Arsenal match, and my friends and family were looking out for me wearing my stupid bright yellow beanie hat. But the fact that there were other people wearing bright yellow passed them by. I don't know why they didn't think of that. But yes, congratulations, Harry. I'll be in touch. You've just won a copy of FIFA. Thank you for your time, gents. Hope to have you on again soon. Julian, I will make it a little bit earlier next time, I promise. And Louis, hopefully you'll join us again. I've got your email now, so
thank you for having me.
You'll be stuck on the invite list. And thank you all for listening. Please do share it on social medias. Please give me some reviews. Apparently, I've got no reviews on any of the podcast websites, but don't review it if you're going to give a bad one. But give us some reviews, share us on social media, and I will be back on Wednesday with an interview with Sol from SUFC TV. Take care, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Mate. All the best. Cheers.
Thank you.
United!